Oh shit, I got 17 minutes, so I'm trying to hurry up. It's May 15th. It's 2 o'clock a.m. This is just reiteration. This will never be unveiled unless I have to for legal purposes. But I'm basically going all the way back for a second so I can reiterate a chapter that I did a long time ago, which is when the Muslims first declared a holy war on the Romans or the Byzantines. When I recorded it the first time, I don't like how my phone kept cutting off, so I had to do like a 6-part series, and I can't stand doing that shit. I'd rather just do it all the way through because it's better for memory. But basically, starting off, this happened in 634. The war was declared between the month of, you gotta excuse me, my throat is tight. But declared between the month of March and April by Abu Bakr during the last year of his life. And what he called for this holy war, he sent a message to quite a few of his generals. And before they pushed out again, which I think is between March and April, more than likely April, they met at this place called Al Jerf, which is like 4.8 miles north of Medina. Some of the people, which was Shurabil ibn Hassana, Yazid ibn Sufyan, the son of one of the chiefs of the Quraysh tribe, Abu Sufyan, Amar ibn al-Asi as-Sami, that was the guy that went to Uman, to a place called Sohar, the Julanda people, or the Julanda kingdom. And that was only about 3 years prior to this. I think something else had happened as far as those people, but I never got a chance to do a specific blog about that chapter, about that portion of that chapter when those people apostatized, but that'll be later. But anyway, those are some of the people that, he gave flags to. There's one guy named Khalid ibn Sa'id, who died shortly after this, but, he was one of those people that was given the flag as well. But, Umar, who was the second caliph, objected to this, had a conversation with Abu Bakr, and then the decision was modified from that point. So, anyway, so the first battle that took place, the first major battle against the Romans, happened in Dathan. And Dathan is basically in Syria. Well, it's within the Gaza Strip. I was going to say Syria, I meant to say Israel, but it's basically within the Gaza Strip. And that battle took place and they were successful, but, the Romans had a little intel of what was going on from some of the Christian Arabs at the time. So they had sent a brigade, about 8,000 men at the time, headed by Sir Julius. But ultimately they were defeated. But before they got defeated, Amar had sent a message to the Caliph at the time asking for additional troops because, based off the information that he received, these Romans, or the people that fought on the side of them, had better armament at the time. So that is what sparked, in addition, that is what made the Caliph send a message to Khalid ibn al-Walid at the time, who was in Iraq. It's disputed whether he was in Al-Hira or in Tamur at the time when he received the message. But I honestly believe that he was in Al-Hira at the time only because of a prior chapter as far as like in northwestern Arabia with Damat and Jandel and what happened when they apostatized. Because when they apostatized, Khalid was supposedly already in Amr, I can't even say it right. He was already in Timur at the time when he received the letter, because Uqadir ibn Abdallah al-Malik, who was the chief of the people of Dumat at the time, and this is after they had already been conquered, he had stopped paying the Sadaqah. So it was ordered for Khalid to have him killed and punished for that. But by the time, as far as that chapter, by the time that had occurred and that decision was made, he was at another fort called Dumat al-Hira at the time. I'm talking about Uqaida. And so it was a fight that happened, and Khalid ibn al-Walid ended up killing him there. And as far as this chapter that I'm speaking on, of course, after he got killed, that's when they put his brother ahead of the people of Damat and Jandel. The brother I'm talking about is the brother of Uqaida, and his name was Hurriyet. I can't even say it right. Hariyeth. Hariyeth at the time. Anyway, that was his name. So he was put ahead of those people there. So that's why I personally believe that Khalid was in al-Hira. Now, as far as like the first chapter about the Holy War, they go on and they talk about everything else that happened, but only because I'm at 6 minutes and I got 17:07 altogether, I'm going to skip all that and start from that point when Khalid first received the letter. Now, he was in al-Hira, right? Now, again, this is supposed to have been during the month of Rubai. And because that is split into two different categories as far as the month of Rubai. One is Rubai al-Thaniya, then another one is whatever. But the whole thing is supposed to have been between June and July. No earlier than May. Not in April whatsoever. That's important as I go further. So he received this letter for this holy war. And when he was in al-Hira, after he received this message, he left. And then he went to al-Kufa first. When he went to al-Kufa, he defeated the people there, made that another Islamic province, and then he left a guy in charge there. The guy, his name was al-Muthani Ash-Shaybani, or al-Muthani Ash-Shaybani. And then he continued his mission. He continued going north. He had about 800 men with him. He went as far as Tamur. When he went to Tamur, he defeated the people there as well. After Tamur, he went to a place called Sandab. And it was two major tribes there that they fought against, which was the Ilyas tribe and then the Kendal tribe. The same occurrence happened. They defeated the people there. They had to agree on Islamic terms as well, as far as sadaqahs and all that type of shit. And whoever that didn't want to convert, having to be obligated to pay an additional tax, etc. So that happened there. When he left Sandab, then he went to a place, a spring, they call it in the book, the origins of an Islamic state, and it was called Qura Kurd. No, actually, no. Before they went to the spring, they went to another place, two other places. One was called Al-Mudayya, and then another one called Al-Usaid. Now, there, they already had that place as a province, according to the book, but it was a rebellion that took place there, and the guy that led the rebellion, his name is Rabi'a ibn Bujair. Of course, they defeated him as well, defeated his soldiers and whatnot. And then they killed him as well. Then anybody else that was like left alive, they became captives, and then they were sent to Medina. What happened to them after that point, I'm not sure. Maybe they were slaves or executed. But that's what happened there. When he left those two places, then that's when he went to Qura Kurd. And it was a spring there, but they basically went there to replenish themselves. So they gathered up a little bit more water, put spears in the camels' throats, and continued their journey. When they left there, they went to Suwa. And there was a spring there as well. I'm not sure exactly where Suwa was at, but I'm assuming it was still in Iraq. So it was a guy there, a chief, that they fought as well. His name was Herkis ibn Numair. Based on the book, he heard about the Islamists coming. He feared, he was frightful or whatever, but they still fought and they killed him. When they left Suwa, that's when they went to another place called Kuwathil. Not too much is said about Kuwathil as far as the book. They just mentioned that Khalid and his army made a stop there. Then when they left Kuwathil, that's when they went finally into Syria, a place called Karkesia, which is in eastern Syria. You look at the map today, it's within the province of Deir ez-Zor. No fight occurred. They just mentioned like when they went there, the people were the chief was hospitable to them. You know, they ate, sat, and then they agreed on terms. So then when they left Carkesia, that's when they headed toward Damat and Jandel. Again, because of that letter or the notification that Khalid received from the caliph at the time about this rebellion that happened and them not paying the Sadaqah as far as Uqaida is concerned. So this is like a mixture. This is like still kind of like the Riddle Wars, but at the same time, the Holy War as well. So when he left there, and I have an issue with this portion, even though this is all within the book, I still have an issue as far as the order. I question it only because of the distances. Because Carkesia, for example, is about 300 miles northwest of Tamir. And then the place that they eventually went to after they left Damat, that I will point out in a second, is only like 125 miles southwest of Carkesia itself. But my phone is at 11 minutes and almost 30 seconds, so I'm going to have to hurry up. So anyway, they left and shit, and then they went south. When they went south, the first place that they stopped at before they made it to Damat and Jandel was Arabah. In the book, they mentioned Arakat, but I believe it's the same thing. That is basically a region. So they didn't denote exactly what town within this region of Arabah because it's south of the Dead Sea. And I don't want to say it directly. I don't want to say it's like south of the Dead Sea and then stops at the fucking Gulf of Aqaba, but I don't think it's too far from it. But they went there. I think that's actually true because, again, the first chapter prior to the one about Khalid was about the declaration of the Holy War. And as I mentioned in that chapter, after they defeated the people of Dathan as far as Amar ibn al-Asi as-Sami, you know, eventually he had sent another guy, which was Abu Umama as-Sudai to Dathan. This is after they defeated the people of Abu Umama as-Sudai to Arabah, but this is after they defeated the people of Dathan at the time. So all of this, so that part right there is accurate to me. So when he went to Arabah, you know, like I said, I believe he joined that guy in the fight, was successful, and then after he left Arabah, that's when he finally made it into Damat. I don't want to delineate everything that happened because of all the time basis. And I remember all this shit off top. This is just me doing this shit so I don't have to cut this. So anyway, when he left Damat and Jandel after them being successful there, that's when he went to a place called Kusam. And no fight occurred, but the people there agreed on the terms after he left Kusam. And again, they didn't specify exactly where Kusam was at, but I'm going to assume it's probably within Arabah as well. After he left Kusam, that's when he went back north all the way to Tamir. Fought against the people there. They resisted. And, you know, they tried to like hide in their forts or whatever, but they still fought and they lost and they agreed on terms. Then after Tamir, that's when they went to Quarry-Yadain. Same thing happened there. Then after Quarry-Yadain, that's when they went to another place called Sinur, within a region that this book called Huwarin. Same shit happened. They defeated the people there, even though they had additional help because soldiers were sent from Balabak and I think Bushra, Balabak and Bushra. But the Muslims were victorious or whatnot. So then after they left Sinur, that's when they went to Marj Rahit. Now, when they went to Marj Rahit, the book claims that this is during Easter. Easter is April 24th. I felt like that was kind of like out of order because when Khalid received a letter when he was in Al-Hira, that was between fucking June and July, but no earlier than May. So I found a little discrepancy there, and I kind of questioned that, aside from the whole order of him going from Carkesia all the way to Damat after stopping in Arabah. So then, let me see. Anyway, so he defeated the people there in Marj Rahit. Then he sent another guy named Bushra ibn Abu or Abi Firi to Damascus at the time, but they sent them to the Ghouta of Damascus. I'm going to assume he kind of like defeated some of the people there, kind of made a way or paved the way for Khalid. Eventually, Khalid left. He headed that way. He stopped at a town called Thaniyat al-Yukab, and then camped at one of the city gates. Now, later on in chapters following this one, they were saying like, okay, he was kind of taking off his post, and somebody else was given his position as like the lead commander of the entire Rashidan army, but it's disputed, or it's not 100% clear whether that took place after the conquest of Damascus or like right before that. But anyway, the conquest of Damascus lasted for about 4 months, but everything wasn't official for a whole entire year until 635. And then even during that time, and a letter as far as the signatures for this agreement, for this covenant, wasn't made yet until another additional year in 636 when everything was signed. But I ain't gonna go into all that right now because it's not relevant. But yeah, so that's what happened as far as like the order of all of this, the Holy War and all that. Again, the geography, I quite like when I first did the blog about this. I'm like, I didn't agree with it because I'm like, shit. Why would they go all the way down south to Damat in northwestern Arabia, and then head back to Tamur when Tamur is much closer to Karkesia? Again, only 125 miles as far as the difference. It wouldn't make sense, as far as the topography. I'm not sure like what routes they took, valleys or whatever, to get to Tamur. So I don't know if they went straight down Jordan first until they got to the